Every year, people say that LinkedIn is slowing down, but the truth is, it's only getting stronger for creators who understand how to play the game. The right strategy can drive serious traffic and close sales faster than other channels. Let's get into what's actually working on LinkedIn today. So one of the first questions with LinkedIn is how often should you post? With LinkedIn, what matters more is consistency more than volume. The way you want to think about this is that LinkedIn is an algorithm. It's no different than the YouTube algorithm. And all of these algorithms, they want their users to continue to post. It's mostly user-generated content, right? Almost all of it. That means the algorithms, these companies are counting on their users to be their employees. And if they're going to look at you as an employee, they want you to be accountable. They want you to be reliable, which means that you're consistently putting out content. And they know that it's a grind to do so, but if you're willing to be consistent, that means they're going to reward you with reach over time. It's no different than YouTube. The same thing with LinkedIn. It's going to take you some time to start to get the right audience looking at your stuff, the right people engaging with your stuff. But as long as you're consistent, maybe you're posting once a day, you are going to be ahead of the game. When it comes to formats, video is one of the top formats for LinkedIn in terms of reach. We've tested both vertical and horizontal videos, and I've seen both work, but for me particularly, horizontal consistently delivers 2 to 3 times the reach versus vertical. Now, I know that LinkedIn is trying to compete with the TikToks of the world, Instagrams, the YouTube Shorts. They're trying to compete on a short form basis, but they aren't quite there yet for whatever reason. I've only seen one of my vertical videos. It was a video where I was talking about Mr. Beast and his operating manual. And that one got 500,000 views on it. And don't get me wrong, that got me a lot of followers and that got me, some interesting conversations happening. But for the most part, horizontal is the gift that keeps on giving. And what that means is when I'm publishing a horizontal video, almost like let's call it a rectangle, that does better for me because that's usually pulling from either my long form YouTube videos or it's pulling when I'm speaking at different events, right? And it lends more to, I believe, the credibility versus a short form piece of content. And usually when I'm publishing a horizontal piece of content, we're talking anywhere from 90 seconds to about 5 minutes or so. And so that's a longer form piece of content versus a vertical piece. Usually what I'm doing there is probably 60 seconds or so. If you want to make this happen at a higher scale and if you're limited on resources, I highly recommend using a product called Opus. Now you can use tools like Opus to help create video content that performs well on the LinkedIn platform. And what I mean by this is I can take a long form podcast interview that I do, maybe that's 30 minutes, 60 minutes or so, and I can just dump into Opus. I can take the YouTube link, dump it into Opus, and Opus will find the right moments. You can have it be a vertical, it can be a horizontal video, and then it's going to find the right moments for you, and it's going to clip them and then prioritize them based on the viral potential that it sees. You can specify the time duration that you want. It could be under 30 seconds, it could be under 60 seconds, it could be under 90 seconds or so, or we can talk 3 minutes to 5 minutes. You can go different durations, right? Just depending on what you're looking for. Opus does a really good job of this. What it's doing now, you can connect it with your YouTube channel. It can actually pull directly from YouTube channel and come up with suggestions there. And this just makes it a lot easier. It'll find those moments for you. It's not always going to do the best jobs. I would still recommend that you have a human that's looking for those moments. And then you as a creator, you're going to know those moments as well. But this allows me, for example, I pulled from a HubSpot conference that I spoke at recently. We clipped that one up for short form and we clipped it up for long form as well. And then we were able to take that pillar piece of content and we were able to splinter it out to get more reach ultimately. Now, another move that LinkedIn's algorithm loves, it's carousels. And carousels, just think about it this way. You can upload documents and you can have these documents, it can be a PDF and people will just kind of swipe through these PDFs and these PDFs get good reach because it's just been like that for the last couple of years. And when you swipe, it shows engagement. And then when you think about Instagram, for example, when you swipe, you can come back to it later in the algorithm, right? LinkedIn's a little different, but I would say that carousels do a lot better because they can see that engagement with the swipes. When you talk about the view duration for a particular post, you talk about the dwell time for a particular post. These carousels do really well. In fact, carousels, I believe, are one of the top. It's either number 1 or number 2 in terms of performance. Carousels do a really good job. Images from time to time can do well. Long form written pieces of content, when you're supplementing them with one of these, could be a carousel, could be a video, one of these, it's going to increase the dwell time on your post and hopefully increase the shareability as well. That's the other thing with carousels. They really lend to shareability, and shareability is definitely a piece of the algorithm. Now let's talk about some underutilized LinkedIn features that you can be using to increase your reach. One is you can host webinars directly on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has events, and what we do on our end is we use different webinar streaming tools to push to YouTube, to push to LinkedIn, we push to X as well, just to get as much reach as possible because you never know who's watching. Typically, we'll schedule our event, a week or 2 in advance, and then we'll start promoting it. We'll start pushing some ads toward it as well. You can even push newsletters. Newsletters actually get pretty good reach on LinkedIn. And so there's a lot of features that are usable. LinkedIn has LinkedIn Live too that you can be using. And what I mean by live is you can stream live. These features will keep your your audiences engaged longer and expand your organic reach. Now, the other thing you need to be thinking about is doubling down on what already works. And that means that you have to look at your data. And so you can use a tool like Shield app. You can also run a LinkedIn export of your content or your analytics and then run it through Cursor and then look at what does well, right? And so you can do that with LinkedIn. What we do is, this is a little more advanced. You can run it through OpenAI's ChatGPT if you want, or any other LLM of your choice. So using ChatGPT, for example, I can take this export and then I can just run it through an LLM and say, hey, like, what are the formats that have really crushed for us over the years? What format should I continue to double down and triple down on? And so if you're just starting from scratch, you're going to have to create for a while and then see what sticks and look at the data and see what the outliers are. But if you've been creating content for a long time, you can just look at what works and just do more of that. And that's a very obvious thing that sometimes I forget pretty frequently, to just look at, hey, what actually works? And we should just do more of that. That's actually the impetus for the types of videos that we create for YouTube, for example, or any other format that we're trying to go for, such as shorts. One other format that completely crushes it with LinkedIn is sharing data. And what I mean by this is, you can survey your audience and come up with interesting data points. And you can come up with your own proprietary data that you have with whatever products that you have. And what you can do is you can share that audience. It could be, hey, these are the top LLMs that are getting the most traffic right now. These LLMs drive the most conversions, or which channels drive the most conversions right now. From a marketing standpoint, that can be very interesting. And when you share it as a carousel, that gets shared quite a bit, right? So when you have proprietary data, or even when you're surveying people, or maybe when you're curating this data, that is going to help you make yourself into an authority. And the cool thing is, you can not only just share this on LinkedIn, but you can also share this to other channels such as Instagram. So you can repurpose this. You can share it to X as well. People love data. And I'll tell you what, the smartest people, they're going to be looking at this data. And these are oftentimes the decision makers that will help you drive more conversions for your business. Now, it's worth noting that you can't just post and disappear. My visibility doubles when I engage with other posts. And I don't do the best job of this because we're posting so many different channels, and I focus 90% of my time on operating my business. And that's not the best excuse, right? I need to do a better job of doing that, or at least hire someone to do that. So if you can't do it, I would recommend that you hire someone to do that. I would say, do as I say, not as I do in this situation. But I've noticed, for example, when I'm posting on LinkedIn, I'm commenting on other people's posts, I'm getting a lot more reach. When you become a reply guy, the algorithm's going to view you in a more positive light. You're going to get more reach on that post, but you're also going to get more reach on your post. And this especially works well on X. Like, doing this on X and I'm just a reply guy, some of my posts will get 50,000, 100,000 views or so when I'm just replying to somebody else. And on my own posts, I don't do that well. On average, I may be getting like 1,000 views per post or so. And so when you have something insightful to say, because it's social media, it makes sense for you to engage. And no time is no excuse. I'm even saying this to myself right now. So do as I say, not as I do. If you have the luxury of potentially hiring someone to do this for you, you could have them do it for you. And you want to post thoughtful comments. It's not just AI generated slop. Now, I'll give you a bonus here. When it comes to LinkedIn, obviously you can run ads as well. Now, one of the things with LinkedIn is, when you're trying to run ads, especially if you're in B2B, if you want to target 100 of your target accounts, it's 100 enterprise accounts, and you wanted to personalize 100 different ads, it would take you weeks to do it. Now, if you're looking to grow really fast and you want to make these personalized ads and landing pages in minutes and not weeks, well, you can use Carrot. And Carrot.ai is a product that we built. You're personalizing ads, you're going to get much higher engagement. We're seeing like double, triple the engagement, and we're seeing the cost of acquiring a customer, we're seeing it drop by 50% plus. And so that's how Carrot works if you want to create personalized ads and landing pages at scale. Now, the last major thing to consider with LinkedIn is brand voice consistency. Your voice is your edge, and keeping it consistent is how you build a loyal following for the long term. Now, one way to help with this is using Stanley. One entrepreneur friend that I know, his name is John, and he has a company called Stan. And Stan is backed by people such as Gary Vee, backed by people like Stephen Bartlett, and he created a tool called Stanley. And what Stanley does is, it will look at all your LinkedIn posts, it'll figure out what your goals are, and it'll write a couple of LinkedIn posts for you per week. And I will tell you that these LinkedIn posts so far, some of them have gotten double or triple the typical engagement rate that I get. So Stanley is something that you can check out. I think it's just stanley.stan.store. And I know that's a mouthful, but you can check it out. And so those are just a couple things that you can do when it comes to growing on LinkedIn. Curious to get what your thoughts are in terms of growing faster on LinkedIn. Look, I would just say ultimately at the end, the people that are winning on LinkedIn in 2026, 2027 and beyond, these are people that are building a real ecosystem, not just posting to a checklist. And look, you want to share data that matters. You want to stay consistent in your voice, and you want to engage like a human. Over time, that compounds, and LinkedIn becomes one of your most powerful growth channels. And if you want to learn more about modern marketing strategies, you want to check out this video over here, and we'll see you in that video.